Hey, I think DC's broken. Yeah, have you tried turning it on and off again? Spotify playlist maker and occasional filmmaker James Gunn graces us with another superhero movie, this time kicking off a brand spanking new DC universe. Or at least, he hopes it will. Will Superman be the breath of fresh air DC desperately needs, or the final nail in the coffin? I mean, I don't know. I don't make the decisions. Well, let me tell you, I was not prepared for how weird this movie would be. But before we get into that, look, up in the sky, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's the subscribe button. Oh yeah, that good there. Using my x-ray vision, I can tell that friggin' none of you are subscribed. I'm here to tell you to subscribe, or I will break all of Crypto's legs. Thank you. Superman! I feel like I've been hearing about this movie for like 10 years. It all started when James Gunn had a big fallout with Marvel over a cringy edgelord tweet. Then he got reinstated with Marvel when Disney decided, hey, wait, I guess nobody actually cares about some stupid joke a guy made a decade ago. From his Marvel Swan Song and Guardians 3 to his conversion to DC to his lies about Blue Beetle and The Flash and Aquaman 2 tying into his new universe.
Aquaman 2, which leads directly into our next few projects.
No, wait, guys, this movie is really the super official start of the new DC universe. Honest. And now, friggin' finally, James Gunn gets to start his own original DCU. So, how'd we start? Since its announcement, this movie has gone out of its way to address the current state of how people feel about Superman. He's lame. He's boring. What's the point of him in today's modern world? He's outdated or old-fashioned or too silly and goofy. We like heroes we can relate to and that have flaws, not some ideal god of a man who can literally drag planets on a chain and lift the essence of all existence itself with his bare hands. So the first look at Gunn Superman made a point to show him getting his ass kicked. Instantly, it sets a reactionary tone to how people feel about Superman. They think he's boring because he's invincible? Well, Gunn challenged that. James Gunn has also been really active on social media, promoting the movie by connecting with fans directly and chatting with them, addressing questions, and overall proving that he's dialed into what people are thinking and asking for. But as we've seen with franchises in the past, being too reactionary or too keenly aware of audience criticism can work against you. No, this lightsaber fucking sucks. Hey, wait, actually, it's the most fucking important thing on Earth. First and foremost, I like that this is a big tentpole superhero movie that feels like it's about something. It addresses the concept of Superman, challenges him as a character and as an idea, and ultimately shares the DNA of the Donner Superman, which is optimism. The utility of optimism in today's world. I love that idea. Going into the movie, I had some pretty significant worries. I was worried about the film being overstuffed with characters, worried about the overly goofy seeming tone, worried about the movie feeling like an introduction to a cinematic universe rather than its own complete story, and overall, worried about James Gunn as a fit for this bright, optimistic superhero. I don't think it's ever a great idea to announce 1,000 projects on the back of one movie that hasn't even come out yet, essentially letting the world know that everything hinges on how much you like one movie. So there are a lot of stakes to this Superman movie. If it fails, the new DCU is DOA. So first things first, David Corenswet as our brand new Superman. I really like his take on the character. Rather than the traditional, hey kids, put that cigarette down type Superman, he's a much more human take on the character. He gets angry, he gets overwhelmed, he doesn't always think things through. And after the most recent DCEU adaptation treated him like literal Jesus Christ, that was pretty refreshing. This Superman also loses a lot. He spends a good percentage of the movie on his ass, but they also make a point to show him doing what Superman does, saving people. And not just people, animals. This is a Superman that values life and will do anything he can to preserve a life. And yeah, after Guardians 3's treatment of animals, I could see why James Gunn needed to put that in there. They kind of altered his powers a little bit. He's got all the classics, the heat vision, the super breath, but he relies on the sun seemingly a lot more than he's needed to before. He feels a lot more vulnerable than other adaptations. You don't see him crushing tanks and stopping bullets all that much in this one. He spends a lot of the movie on the back foot. Or, boot. He's also kind of a blockhead. I think that's kind of fun and it allows for him to play better with other characters when building out a bigger universe. His worldview is simple, bordering on naive, which makes sense. Dude was raised on a farm. He's not a cynical city guy, he's a wholesome, flannel-wearing, beer-drinking, truck-driving Kansas dude who also listens to punk rock, I guess. His Clark Kent is not really a factor. He walks into work all, hi everyone, just interviewed Superman, what a great guy! Looking and sounding exactly like him. I know they explain it away with tech, but I always like the idea that Clark is performative. Dude couldn't even give me a shoulder hunch, a timid voice, Oh, well, gosh, Lois. The costume is something I like elements of, but I'm not super in love with. His look overall in the movie is a little bit puffy. The material of the costume is pretty thick and plasticky, kind of like he's wearing a big sweater over his body the whole time, which kind of takes away from the physique a bit. It tends to bunch up around the neck and arms, which stood out to me in close-ups. There are aspects I think that work great. I love how colorful it is. I love the new logo. I like that he has the trunks, and I think the cape is perfect. But I also don't like the Marvel-y lines all over his chest and arms, so it's kind of a mixed bag. And how can we not talk about Krypto? Superman works with AI and Krypto in this movie? What's going on? Krypto was a bigger part of this movie than I expected. I like that Superman has a dog. It brought me joy. Another thing that I think works really well is the atmosphere of this world and Metropolis and the Daily Planet in general. It's got this, ready for this, anachronistic quality to it, where it feels like a place at a time, sort of like how Gotham is sometimes shown as perpetually stuck in the 40s strictly for the vibes. Metropolis in this movie is bright, colorful, cheery, and warm. Perry White is constantly smoking a cigar indoors, and everyone has a newspaper in their hands, but also social media exists. So it's this weird idealistic type of universe that's exaggerated in a bunch of ways. This also stretches over to the technology in this film, which is complete sci-fi nonsense mumbo jumbo. We need to reverse the polarity of the accelerator before it rips a hole in the fabric of the... It's a world where buildings have hidden spaceships in them, the government has evil portals to pocket dimensions. Their science is truly indistinguishable from magic, which I think leads to some problems when it comes to the stakes. Characters pull new tricks and tools out of their ass all the time in this movie. When you don't know what a character can do, it feels kind of cheap when they try to use that as a plot twist. It's kind of like the kid on the playground constantly inventing new powers for himself. Oh, actually, I have an eye laser proof force field, which it leaves me invulnerable to all of your attacks. The script also feels really hyperactive when it comes to just focusing on one thing. The rhythm of the movie feels like, here's a problem, and it's solved. Here's another problem, and it's solved. Problems in this movie seem to come and go without much consequence or deliberating. Oh no, Lex Luthor is ripping the city in half and sending it into a black hole. Oh, okay, that's actually fine. We could actually just fix that. Oh no, there's a giant monster tearing the city apart. Oh no, that's fine too. We can handle that. Superman is trapped and needs the sun. Funny story. We actually have a guy for that too. There's also a conflict involving Superman's real parents that I just didn't buy. I like the idea of it, but it just asks you to accept information that could have easily been our characters being lied to. In this world where they have crazy, wild-ass technology, the fact that they're given a video and told that this is completely undoctored is completely ridiculous. And this is a video that goes on to like rock Superman to his core. People can make fake videos like that on their phones today, so the fact that they just completely accept this wholesale without questioning it was a big problem for me. And it's not just Superman, who I might be able to buy is a little bit more naive, but it's everybody in this movie completely accepts this information given to them by Lex Luthor of all people. And they're just like, yep, nope, that tracks, without even really questioning it for more than a second. A lot of the action set pieces are also a lot weirder than what I was expecting. Not in a bad way, just like some of the images I saw on the screen were baffling to me in that moment. I did not think I would be seeing some of the images I saw on screen. One of the main fights in this movie involves coughing up goo. When I think of what I would do with a Superman movie, it would not involve coughing up goo. Superman has to save a baby from like pixely goo at one point. Lots of goo. Yeah, there are definitely points in this movie where I just had to kind of take a step back and be like, alright, this is a lot of CGI nonsense going on this screen. But it's funny because my favorite scenes in the movie are some of the most simple. I really like every scene with Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. I think she's a perfect Lois. She challenges Superman in all the right ways, pushes buttons, is always restless and afraid to get too close to people. She's a badass, and she doesn't sit still. She flies a spaceship in this movie just because she can. I really like the Daily Planet crew and their little side stories. What a treat to have Jimmy Olsen in a movie and not have him shot in the face. But let's talk about the Justice Gang. Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner was so entertaining to watch. Just insufferable in all the right ways, but the standout surprisingly to me was Mr. Terrific. He was really funny, had one of the best action sequences in the movie, and just didn't fuck around. Overall, the Justice Gang were all just a crazy group of people. We got one guy blasting tanks with a green middle finger, we got a blob man, we got Hawk Girl screaming into the camera while they all murder people in a foreign country. It's friggin' crazy. So moving on to the villains, something I wish we got a little more into was Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor. I liked him. In the movie, he plays a pretty standard Lex, just an absolute #1 certified hater. We really don't get too personal with Lex in this movie. He's mostly just the puppet master sitting up in his big building for a lot of the story, monologuing to himself about how he hates Superman oh so very much. That's another thing people do in this movie, just kinda announce their motives or character traits. I am mad at Superman because he's not human and he thinks he's better than me and he's not bald. And everyone in the room is just like, yeah, man, yeah, we know, we work for you. And then later on, Superman's like, I am a human and I was raised on Earth as a boy to be a good man. And everyone in the room is like, yes, Superman, we know, dude. So that was pretty goofy. As far as the other villains go, I wasn't super into the nanobot lady with buzzsaw hands. I'm not sure why her and Ultraman were two different characters. I'm guessing because for a big chunk of the movie, Ultraman can't talk without revealing who he is. So we need a character that can fight, but also exposit stuff. And also his power set, I can't believe we got another evil Superman on a screen, for the love of God! I mean, I get it, it's fine, it's a Superman movie. Yeah, if you're looking forward to seeing Ultraman in this movie, I think he's really lame. I found the twist reveal of who his character actually is to be so lame too, since again, it doesn't come from anywhere and isn't a thing we're told can happen in this universe. It's completely ridiculous. It's a ridiculous world we're introduced to, but it's also really fun. I would say this movie shares a lot of DNA with like James Gunn's Suicide Squad movie, you know, the one with the starfish. Yeah, we got some weird stuff going on. But how that movie had this kind of flippant attitude to introducing and getting rid of these wild characters that you kind of are interested to see more of. This movie does a similar thing where we don't get into the origin of almost anybody here. It's just like, yeah, here's a girl with hawk powers. You gotta either accept it or you don't. That's kind of it. You gotta either get on the train or get off. You know, this movie's not gonna wait around for you. I think the movie's pretty messy. I think it rocks back and forth between deciding what it wants to be about or what it wants to say or what the story should revolve around. I can't say there's really a central conflict. Things happen, there are ongoing conflicts, like the thinly veiled metaphor Barovia situation, but I wouldn't say there's one conflict that the movie chooses to be about and focuses on. There's just a bunch of characters all doing ridiculous shit with wild sci-fi powers that is super entertaining to watch, but can also just kind of feel like nonsense at times. That being said, it was a lot of fun. I like Superman fighting a bunch of dudes in the sky shooting laser beams at them. This is a Superman that is not reckoning with being a superhero or questioning his need to do good. He's just gotta save a lot of people and he's gotta kick a lot of ass. And sometimes that's really nice to see. So, was it overstuffed, ridiculous, pretty stupid at times? Yeah. But I liked it. It reminded me of putting on an episode of a cartoon. It really doesn't overthink a lot of what it's trying to do. So when it comes to this movie being a launch pad for a new universe, do I want to see more of this universe and these characters? Yeah, I want to spend more time in this world and with these characters. I want to see this version of Superman develop into the idyllic, kind of perfect guy that we all know. But what do you think? Do you have a DC project you're most looking forward to? Who do you think Batman should be in this universe? Because I don't think Pattinson would slot in here well at all. But that's just me. So, did you subscribe? Oh, you didn't? Okay, well, here we go. Oh, you didn't think I'd do it slow, huh? Oh, that was a good one. Okay, one more. Oh my God, Jesus, it's everywhere.
I appreciate you watching. I hope this was exciting for you.